shout till we're 6 feet over. We're gonna demonstrate something unusual. Come on, do that proclamation with us. Everybody do it, let's go. We're gonna turn the world upside down. We're gonna turn these people right side up. We're gonna shout till we're 6 feet over. We're gonna demonstrate something unusual. Come on! Something unusual.
Hello, friends. I'm Donna Clement Petrushka, and I am honored to invite you to something truly extraordinary, the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. My father, Kim Clement, carried a unique prophetic anointing that allowed him to reveal God's heart and divine truths in ways that continue to resonate deeply today. His prophetic words, teachings, and worship moments are not just history. They are a living testament to God's ongoing work. Now you can gain unprecedented access to my father's entire digitized video archive. Every prophetic moment, every powerful teaching, every anointed worship session is now available to you in the Prophecy Vault. This treasure trove of spiritual wisdom and revelation is here for you to explore and be inspired by. But that's just the beginning. We've also enhanced the prophecy database, meticulously updating it with new video content and profound insights. This is more than just a collection. It's a living resource where you can delve into prophecies and see how they align with today's world. Plus, I'm excited to share that my dad's special School of the Prophets teachings are included, offering you deep, transformative lessons on hearing God's voice and understanding his revelations. As part of your membership, you'll also gain access to my prophecy blog, where I break down and analyze my father's prophecies, connecting them to current events. This blog will provide you with exclusive insights and a deeper understanding of how God's word is unfolding right now. And we're offering something truly special: exclusive analysis sessions available only to members of the Prophecy Vault. These sessions will go beyond the surface, providing in-depth exploration of specific prophecies and their implications for today and the future. Your partnership is crucial. Not only will you gain access to these incredible resources, but you'll also help us continue the vital work of preserving, digitizing, and adding new Kim Clement material to the archives. Together, we can ensure that my father's prophetic legacy continues to inspire and guide generations to come. So, I'm inviting you to step into the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Let's embark on this journey of revelation together, and I can't wait to see you inside. Merry Christmas, everybody. Welcome. I've got my Santa hat on today. Charlie Jordan is somewhere. He's going to be on with me in a moment. Look, we even made it festive in here. How cute is that tree behind me? Merry, Merry Christmas. Oh, you put the little Jesuses. My sister Shushu's here today. Coming into the camera. There's Shushu. She's going to be backstage helping me today as my little assistant. So everybody say hello to Shu. And Shushu, if you want to say something, you can use that microphone over there. Okay, if you have anything to add. So we're very excited. It's going to be Christmas. Our family has always loved Christmas. And, you know, it was very difficult in the first years after, you know, when my dad got sick and after he passed away, because he loved Christmas so much. And, you know, he grew up in South Africa, where in summertime, it's Christmas. So the seasons are switched there because it's South Africa. I think it has to do with the hemispheres.
northern and southern. So anyway, it's summer in South Africa at Christmas time. So he always wanted snow at Christmas. The traditional thing you'd see in the movies and stuff. And of course, they never got snow in Africa, so in South Africa anyway. So his mother used to. I think one Christmas they sprayed the fake snow and decorated for Christmas, and he was so grateful for that. He spoke about it for years afterwards, and he really loved the Christmas season. Do you need something? You encroached upon me. It's okay. Lou's over here helping me with the chat. Oh, yes, I see the House of Destiny chat there. We have some people in there. Hello. And of course, YouTube. All the Merry Christmases. Oh, they're saying Merry Christmas to you, Shushu. Shushu means beautiful in Chinese.
Yes, it does.
And it's spelled Xiu. Xiu. And Shushu was adopted in 2015. You came.
Yeah, and it's been 9 years since I've been
9 years. And how old are you?
13.
Go to the mic so they can hear you.
13.
13. Shushu's growing up. She's a teenager now. And so, anyway, my dad loved Christmas so much. And so when he was sick, I don't know what to do with this hat. I wanted to be festive today, but this is, but anyway, when Dad got sick, it was a little difficult, especially after he passed away, because he loved Christmas so much. And he would dress up as Santa Claus or whatever. And there was always great celebration and food and family. And so it took us a while to even feel okay at Christmas again. I know anybody who's lost somebody knows exactly what I mean here with that. But enough years have passed, and he would hate it if we were depressed on Christmas. He wouldn't have liked that. So we are very excited about Christmas. My mother, if anybody has ever heard any of our interviews with Steve Schultz from Elijah Streams, he will tell you about us and Christmas, because he came to visit the family one year, and my mom, it was Halloween time, and my mom had already decorated everything for Christmas, and he always talks about it. So, we do love Christmas, so we're ready to go. Been so busy. Also, I want to just say this to you guys. Who, anybody out there like to bake, especially your own bread? I've been making my own bread.
My mom does.
Mom does too. Mom's got the bread maker, but I don't even use a bread maker. I just
I know
got
how to
the
make
active
cookies.
live yeast and cookies. But the best flour to bake with is called 5 Roses, and you can get it on Amazon. A little pricey, so you should just save it for when you it's something special. But I got some of it. Oh my goodness, it makes the best bread. And what I did last night, I had baked a loaf of bread a couple days ago, and it was stale, and I didn't want to throw it away. And I was like, you know what? My grandmother always used to make bread pudding out of the stale bread, and I had made this delicious. I'd made a few loaves, so we didn't get it all eaten. But I made this delicious loaf of bread from scratch using the 5 Roses flour. Now, 5 Roses makes tea and flour. They make this delicious dark English, the black tea. So good, the 5 Roses tea. But they also make flour. So you can search for it. The word 5, F-I-V-E, roses. And einkorn flour, I'm seeing you saying there, Daryl. I haven't heard of that. I'll try it. I love baking my own bread. So anyway, I had this loaf, half of the loaf was stale, and I remembered my grandmother. She didn't call it bread pudding, though. She used to call it bread and butter pud. And she would make it when the bread would go stale. So I made the bread. It went stale. So last night I was like, you know what? I can do this. I had looked up a few recipes. It's very basic. Just some egg, cream, or egg and milk and butter and sugar. And, you soak the stale bread, you break it up and you soak it, and then you bake it. And some people put raisins. I do not like raisins. I'll tell you who does like the raisins in a bread pudding, though. General Flynn. That's General Flynn. What is your favorite dessert, General Flynn? He said, bread pudding with raisins. But I don't like raisins. So I did not put raisins in my bread pudding. But instead of using the sauce, because there was a recipe for sauce, and I did make the sauce, but it was so sweet. Instead of using sauce, I used apricot jam. So delicious. So you bake the bread pudding. When you take it out, let it cool, poke some holes in it, and then spread apricot jam all over the top of it and let it soak in. And then when you serve it warm and put heavy cream on top. I just ate some before I came here, so this is why I'm so excited about it. I just finished eating it. More of it. That's all I ate yesterday. Cream on top. Cream. Now, I saw Paula Deen had a recipe with white chocolate sauce, which sounds amazing.
That sounds good.
Yes. Now, Strumming also does not like raisins. They're like little bugs. I don't like Christmas cake that has the fruit in it. I don't like any fruit in cake. It makes me. It's something in my mind. I
I
think
like
it feels like
strawberry
little
cake, but,
bugs. Strawberry cake is delicious, but that's a flavor. I
Yeah.
don't mind a flavor, but when the actual pieces of fruit are in there, I don't
Chocolate
like.
chip, no, it's not. That's not.
Well, chocolate chip is all different. I'm
Yeah,
talking about fruit.
that's
Anything is good with a chocolate chip in it.
One time I ate watermelon.
Sweet potato
with
pie.
One time I ate watermelon with whipped cream.
Oh, watermelon with whipped cream is delicious as well. I don't know if you
Oh.
guys can hear Shushu. She's chatting with me.
I am. Very fun.
So yes, I see everybody talking here. Homemade eggnog. Lemon curd on top. Now, Dawn. Now you're talking. Well, we've got stuff to cover here today. This is not a cooking show. I'm just excited about Christmas time, and I'm impressed with myself because I remembered how to do the bread pudding, and I didn't waste my bread that I made. And because that bread was so delicious, it made the bread pudding more delicious. So that was great. Orange cake. Now, look, I don't mind eating raisins on their own. I just don't want them in food, or in cake, especially baked into things. I don't like it. Mince pies. Oh yes. Now, chocolate covered bacon. Oh my goodness! I'm gonna have to tell my husband that he loves bacon.
I do too.
I know everybody loves bacon.
I just ate bacon and then.
Oh, stale bread makes good croutons. It's true. Yes. Oh, you guys are giving me tips.
Yummy chips.
Watermelon with whipped cream. Well, I mean, any kind of fruit you can dip in whipped cream. It's going to be good, I think.
Yeah. But like people say, it's like
the whiskey sauce. I don't like alcohol at all. If I smell it, I'm not one of those people. So I don't really like desserts with alcohol in it. Like they do the Christmas cake and pour the rum over it and then they set it alight. My grandmother always used to do that. And I mean, it doesn't do anything to you as far as the alcohol, but some people like that taste. I do not. I don't like any. I don't like it. Okay, so we have Charlie Jordan. Is he there? You can bring Charlie on. I should have brought him on for this discussion. There we go. Look at our Christmas background today. I love it. There you are. Oh, all red, Charlie.
All red.
All red.
Hey, hold on real quick. Hey, Sharon, put some sweet potato pie on for us here. Donnie got me wanting some sweet potato pie now. So.
Oh man, I trust Sharon. Charlie. Well, everybody, this is Charlie Jordan. Welcome, Charlie. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to
Good
you.
week. And I think you can tell people too how much my dad loved Christmas because I'm sure you saw it a few times.
Oh, he loved it. I mean, he lived for it, and he went all out. You guys, the house was decorated. It was festive, and it was just something that he looked forward to. And that's something that he and I, we had in common because I'm the same way. One of the things that Sharon loves about Christmas is that Charlie doesn't mind spending money during Christmas. So she loves it.
Well, that's the truth about Christmas. It costs a fortune. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter how much you try to plan. By the time Christmas Day comes, there's no money left.
I tell you, my credit card companies, they love me this time of year.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Well, I love Sharon, and you must tell Sharon that we send our love.
I will.
All right, Charlie. So we have some stuff to look at today.
Yes.
Now, I am going to pull up my X page.
Oh, and speaking of X, I just got my certified verified account. I'm X Premium now.
Oh, that's wonderful. And what's your handle? People can follow
At
you on X.
BTL for Jesus.
At BTL. Actually,
Yeah.
I think it's the same at.
Yeah.
Okay, because when I shared it today on X. So if you guys are on X, please follow Charlie Jordan. Lou, I don't know if you can make a lower third so they can see his handle, but I did share.
I can text that to him real
Yeah,
quick.
text it to him, and then he can share the handle on there and keep my hat straight.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have it up. Oh, I love that how Lou's done the screen for Christmas. It's so cool.
Yeah, it is very cool.
Okay, so a lot going on.
hmm
I'm sure you saw Trump was at the that event in Arizona.
You know, I didn't know that. Lou just told me about it. I had no clue.
Yes, it's the Turning Point USA. There's another name though. Roger Stone was there
hmm
yesterday, day before, and this on the page here is Alex Stone. Little Alex Stone is Roger Stone's, well, honorary nephew.
Okay.
But they both have the name Stone, but they're not actually related. But he's such a great kid, and he's posted this, and this is Trump coming out. So let's have a look at this.
The subject of Russia investigation, 2 impeachments, 2 assassination attempts, 91 indictments, convictions. There is almost nothing that hasn't been thrown at this former president.
For the past 9 years, we have been fighting against the most sinister and corrupt forces on
When
earth.
they couldn't beat him, they tried to bankrupt him. When that didn't work, they tried to put him in federal prison.
Hello, Butler. Hello.
When that didn't work, they even tried to kill him.
We just got to kill President Trump. Many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason.
Wow, that was great.
Yeah, it's a great production,
Just
man.
great. Sorry, I hadn't actually seen that, and so I wanted to check it out. I didn't watch the whole thing. I just reposted it. So listen, Charlie. When I look at stuff like this, I think my dad, being the prophet that he was, there's no way he wouldn't have seen this. This is so huge. What has happened with Donald Trump, globally, all the things going on. And one of the things we're going to look at today, I'm going to scroll on next a little bit longer, though, is what he prophesied about New York and the drones, the connection to the drones.
Yes.
Some people even were pointing out to me how he spoke about the spiders, the demonic spiders. And if you look at the drones, they actually look like spiders.
They look like spiders coming out of the crevices. Yeah.
And
right.
and you think about, you think he's just using an analogy or he just means,
Yeah.
something sneaky and creepy, but it's not. He actually was, I think, trying to articulate what he was seeing in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so you look at, like, for instance, the Donald Trump, that entrance he just made to Turning Point USA at the thing. I mean, you just think about everything that's happened this year, the assassination attempts, the people, the unexpected people joining him, like RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard.
Right.
These things are huge. And he saw it all. He saw assassination attempt. He saw Kennedy. He saw the Republicans and Democrats uniting to form a new party, the New American Party. Remember, he kept calling it that.
Right.
And so, and then the move of God he saw that was coming. That all the other revivals and the moves that have happened in the past would pale in comparison to what we were going to see. And, Damascus Road conversions and Jesus being cool again. And they'll say, Jesus is cool, the Jesus revolution.
Right. Right.
And look here. Here we've got Denzel Washington just got baptized. If you look there at the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw this before I came here today.
I got baptized September 29th.
I know you did. And Shushu and
Big
my
Dad.
daughter, they just really wanted to get baptized. All of a sudden, there he is getting baptized.
Yeah.
And, I thought that was so cool. But it's these sort of people are just popping up, becoming Christians and professing Christ. And it's just everywhere I'm looking, I can hear the echoes of his prophecies. I just hear his voice everywhere. I see these things going on, even this about the spiders. I'm actually going to play that, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
Let's play. I might
Okay.
skip through it. So Lou, keep us up on the screen, because we're going to do kind of a reaction thing. So don't make it full screen. And I'm going to fast forward. I'm going to have to switch it over. Fast forward the intro here. Let's just go straight to the prophecy. Yeah, it's a little long, so I'm going to go back and forth. But you're here, Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dear, I'm getting. Oh dear. Skip that. Okay, Lou, I need to switch it on the screen. I think I know what to do here. Replace. There we go. I can do it myself. Aha. Wonderful. Okay. There it is. Now, let's have a look. So everybody, you can see Charlie right there on the right. And this was June 6th, I believe, 3rd
Yep.
of 2015.
Right.
And I think this was after he'd come back. No, it was before.
Before we
New
went
York.
to New York, yes.
And just for some backstory, everybody, he was supposed to go to New York, the whole team. They got delayed unexpectedly and had to postpone the trip by, I think, a week or so. And then when they ended up landing in New York, it was when Donald Trump came down the escalator.
Right.
So prophetic, just not even just prophecies, but actual where they were going, where you guys were going.
Mm-hmm.
All of that, when, where, and when. I keep saying that about these prophecies. It's not just the prophecy. It's where was he, when. Like Maricopa County, he prophesied 2 terms.
like Canada, and I'll get to that when we're done with this segment. 'cause
Yes.
something Lou and I was talking about before we came on. So anyway,
About
I'll get to
Canada.
it.
All right. Well, let's look at
Yes.
this quickly and then we'll talk about Canada. Okay, everybody ready? Let's go.
Before I was even born, you called me, Lord, to pray for this nation, the United States of America. You called me to come here, Lord, in 1981, to walk the streets, to travel from state to state. So here I stand today. Here I stand to pray with the people, Lord. Here I stand to pray with the people, Lord God. I pray with your people because today, while I was in my garden, I sensed terror, catastrophe, death, violence in a very strange and subtle way. So Yeshua, I come to you today as a prophet that would speak and pray the words of life, the words of light, that this storm that you have shown me would be brought to nothing. I call to you, Yeshua, Jesus, the Christ. Lord, I pray for the banishment of every demonic recluse. I pray for a banishment of every demonic spider, everything that would crawl in the crevices, who are ready to come out, one neighborhood after the other, in New Jersey, in the Bronx, Manhattan, and Lord, even along the sea. I pray, Lord, today that you would reveal to us your will. I pray today, Lord, that you would speak. I am not afraid to speak the word
Very
of the Lord
important,
to this nation. I've done it before, and I'll do it again. This honor have the servants of the Most High God.
Him saying, I am not afraid to speak was also very prophetic because of the censorship that we've seen and had to endure. You know, he did that again. Another time he did that was during one of the assassination prophecies, as he started to sort of defy that spirit and say, I will not stop. You will not silence me.
Right.
And so again, you see him doing that while prophesying. I just wanted to point that out.
I praise us that with a two-edged sword in our hand, I praise us. I'm not ashamed to declare that Yahweh, the Lord God, the one who will not listen to mortal man, spoke to my heart and said, can a mere mortal be more powerful than God? Can a mere mortal stop the plan of God? Can a mere mortal stop the word of the Lord? Can a mere mortal stop the very presence of God in a nation that I promised? Today, Lord, I call to you. I call to you to let the truth be made known, that the enemies of America be revealed and exposed through the summer. I am yet to pray. I am yet to pray in the name of Christ and declare that the streets shall not be riddled with the blood of martyrs, nor the streets be soaked with the blood of children, but the streets will be soaked with the blood of Christ Jesus. That's what I declare, for that blood will speak against the terror forces of this nation. Lord, I pray today with your people. I call to you, Lord, because you have shown me New York. You've shown me New York. You've shown me, Lord, how the enemy has once again planned something, but this time it is completely different. It is not like 9/11. There is nothing like it. This is the most strange infiltration that shall come upon your screens. It shall come upon you in your movie houses. It shall come upon the places of comfort and pleasure. And they shall infiltrate, and they shall say, we'll even black them out. We will even cause them to be so terrorized because there is darkness in one section and darkness in another section. Long Island and Babylon and New York, all these regions, we will blacken it out. And then we will cause them to hear and understand that we are in charge. You will not do this as you plan. But the Spirit of the Lord says, even as my prophet prays and gathers the people together, and the people pray and make declaration that there is only one God, and that eternal God shall destroy the power and the plans of mere mortal man. This day, Lord, I call to you, bring down the forces in the region of New York. And as we go there, we stand there, declare the will of the Lord and expose the very forces of hell. I pray today for this nation, and I call to you to bring your life and your breath upon us in the name of Yeshua. I thank you for doing it. Let's praise him together. Come on.
Okay, so that's enough. I have posted this on my YouTube channel, so if anybody wants to watch that, you can go to, access it easily. You can go to my YouTube channel. It's at the bottom of the screen there. And I'm going to switch again back to X. We see I'm doing all this on my own today. So, Charlie, what do you remember about that day? Because you were there.
Yes, yes. Well, what I do remember is that we had something totally different that was planned to start that particular meeting off. And like your dad, he was so accustomed to stepping out and not going according to the program. He would always listen to the voice and follow the voice in the direction of the Spirit. So we were all set up. We had a specific song that we was going to start with. He was going to come out. He was going to go to his keyboard, and we was going to start right up. He walked on the platform, looked at our keyboard player, and said, "Play some strings before we go live." And then so he started playing those strings, and then the minute we went live, as you can see, when that broadcast started, Kim is already on the platform. He's already positioned, and he is already praying. It was a moment that I will never forget because he came on. Your dad used to teach so beautifully about suddenlies. That those suddenly moments are so important and so beautiful because, see, it catches you. So that's why you have to be instant in and out of season. You have to be ready. You have to be positioned because God can come upon you in a twinkling of an eye. That is not just something that's going to happen once, everyone. This is just one of God's attributes. When he comes, and that's why he said, "Draw nigh to me," because I'm going to draw nigh to you, and I'm going to come upon you at any given second. Be prepared. That's what happened to your father on that day. Caught us all off guard. It's like, oh, okay, here we go. We had to switch. We had to go with him. We had to go with the flow. That's one of the reasons why I was a man of prayer, because I knew that the prophet, you have to have the flexibility in the spirit and within your soul, first and foremost, because see, your soul is so closely connected to your flesh. And so praying in the spirit does what? Builds you up on your most holy faith so that your soul and your spirit can be more connected than your soul and your flesh. So that's the reason why I prayed a lot, because your dad was a man of prayer, and you had to be instant in and out of season. You had everything planned. You did all this work to put all this together. Then all of a sudden the prophet comes on the platform and he goes in a totally different direction. If you're not prepared, if you're not prayed up, if your spirit and your soul is not connected together, you'll get ticked off, and then you get in the way and you will hinder what God planned to do that particular meeting. So that's why it was so important for us to pray. But that's what happened on that particular day. He just came in off the cuff and changed everything.
And I can tell for sure, just because I'm used to what he used to do, but he didn't usually start off that way. It would be some music would build up.
Right.
The worship would build into prophecy usually. So for him to come right out the bat, God had shown him something and he felt like it was important. And then he's seeing those regions that we're all looking at right now that are, they're having these drones flying around them. And it started over there in New Jersey, but
yes, it did. And someone said in the chat, he said New Jersey first.
Yes.
Because that's where it started. So, I never put that together like that. But that's what I love what God is doing with you and I, Donnie. Because I'm seeing one thing, you're seeing another, but we're seeing the same thing at the same time.
Yes.
And I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but that is true because that's what's so beautiful about the prophetic. Because we're all saying the same thing. We're just not saying it at the same time. I might be focusing in on one thing. I've listened to this prophecy many, many times. But just today, you just played that. Just light just illuminated within my spirit because that's right. That could be those drones. Because listen to the vernacular of that prophetic word. It's just, to me, it's just so, it's so awesome, man.
And he's pointing out fear to terrorize you, to frighten you, and really that is something that keeps coming up. Is it's scaring everybody. They're like, is it aliens? Are we being attacked by Iran or Russia or China? Is it that kind of thing? Nobody knows what's going on. Stuff started to come out now, so we're all kind of watching. They're saying, oh, it could be a fake UFO invasion.
Yeah.
Something is happening prior to Trump's inauguration. And, there's another prophecy where I'm trying to remember where it was, where he says this God is too quiet. I'm trying to remember when it was. I'll have to remember. But he speaks about...
That's
maybe it was
February
the
22nd, 2014, I believe.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, I believe so.
Or the season's prophecy, but he says this God is too quiet. And he means God, lowercase G-O-D. And something that we have kind of noticed since the election is everything seems to be too peaceful and quiet.
Yeah.
They're complaining about Elon Musk and that kind of thing, but it does seem a little bit like, wow. And, they had terrible, devastating loss. And really that the entire Democratic Party needs to be looking at why, as opposed to blaming Trump all the time. But it is a little quiet. It seems too peaceful.
Yeah.
So
Actually, that could be a November 1st. Could that be when he was speaking about strange July, hypnotic November?
the season's prophecy.
The season,
That's what I
yeah.
was thinking. I think he said
I
that.
think it's that. I think you're correct. Yes.
Definitely. And so we kind of have, like he used to say about the prophecies, is that there would be like a tapestry. I don't know if you remember him saying that.
Yep. Yep.
And, the little bits and pieces, that's why he wanted to do Code Breakers. Because Code Breakers was more than just one person. Like Sunil used to do it. I was loosely part of the team, and then became more and more so. And that's why I called this Code Breakers. It's because this is what we're doing. We come together, we watch the prophecies. I've got the people in the chat. And it was actually the Code Breakers messaging me on my X account that pointed this prophecy out to me and he said the spiders. Now you don't have to put the screen up, Lou, but I'm going to just have a look here and see if I can find this. I actually had reposted what somebody shared with me about the drones looking like spiders. And so that was interesting too, because he spoke about the spiders and the blacking them out. And, yes, June 4th, it's a season's prophecy. That's June 14th. Lou's just texted me on the screen. And so definitely just trying to scroll through here without mirroring the screen. So just give me 1 second, because I'm pretty sure I shared it. Maybe I didn't. Oh, no, here it is. Okay, you can share the screen again, Lou. Or do I have to do it? Oh, there we go. You see? There. And I even put spiders because you see this lady, Debbie Perez, said, Donne, the spiders. And everybody knew this prophecy, and a couple others that he'd been seeing it. And it looks like a giant spider.
It does, man. Wow.
Isn't it amazing how the prophetic works?
Yeah, it's like, well, Lou, I mentioned something about Canada and
Canada.
to you because Lou and I, we were talking while I was backstage before we came on live. We were just talking about Kim's ministry and how every aspect of the ministry was prophetic. So many people used to come to a Kim Clement service to receive a word from God, to hear from God. And God switched it up. He flipped the page and he said, okay, Kim, I want you to go and I want you to dwell in a region. And that first region was Detroit. And he said, I want you to worship me. And so many people would get so upset because their personal needs weren't being ministered to. But Kim was so obedient in following what the Lord wanted, because what God was doing, he was setting things up to where we will be in a place at a certain time, and it doesn't look like there's no way out, but God was going to pull us out. And one of the things that I'm referring to is that prophetic song, our iconic song, was Somewhere in the Future. And that happened in that region. We were in Detroit. It was in 1996. It was the winter of 96 when we got that. We were in Windsor, Canada, just across the Detroit River from Detroit. And we got that prophecy. And the reason why I'm bringing up Canada now, because look what is happening in Canada now. Donald Trump's second term, he mentioned tariffs, and now all of the oppression, all of the things that Canada has had to endure, now it looks like they are about to break out and prosperity is coming, because it was on the soil of Canada that proclamation was birthed. You're somewhere in the future, Canada, and you look much better than you look right now. Guys, everything that happened with this ministry had a prophetic edge. There was nothing entertainment or just for you to just come and say, oh, what a great, what a great service, what a great piano player, what a great worshiper. No, when you walked into a Kim Clement service, it's like walking into a dome that is full of the atmosphere of the prophetic nature of God. And if you were attentive and your heart was and your heart was set to receive, you received the impartation of what God was doing in that moment. But more importantly, in that moment, what he was doing for and through you for your future. And I believe that Canada is about to have an explosion of everything that Prophet Kim prophesied about Canada, because it was on the soil of Canada, guys, that we said, you're somewhere in the future.
And you know what? That's like one of his most famous quotes. Like,
Yeah.
anybody hears you're somewhere in the future, even Obama.
Obama.
Remember, even Obama quoted him.
Yeah.
And so you've got, you're somewhere in the future being from, I forgot that you guys did that in Canada.
It was in Canada. Yeah, so look, I'm not saying thus said the Lord. I just know the prophetic and everything that we're talking about. Just the little things that, like we just mentioned. He mentioned New Jersey. He mentioned something about spiders. All of these little prophetic nuggets that some people would dismiss.
Yeah.
It's just maybe words, but they are a tapestry of what Donna just said. Is a tapestry of the prophetic, and now it's all coming together, and it's turning into this beautiful portrait of God's promise for us, his people.
That's exactly right. It is. I'm so glad you reminded me about Canada, because that starts to put more into perspective. And then, of course, we've got Trump threatening, what's his name? What's his name in Canada?
Trudeau or something
Trudeau.
like that.
I always get Trudeau and Macron mixed up. France and Canada, they're both French, I guess. But Trudeau, I think, I think they're doing some kind of an election thing. I haven't actually been looking too closely at it, so I'm glad you brought up Canada. I'm going to look.
It's erupting. People are saying, get out. They're telling Trudeau to get out, resign. That was the rhetoric last week. Now, I don't know what's happening this week. This is a new week. But I do know that one of his top financial persons just resigned.
Yes.
They,
And Trump was saying someone's reminding me, Trump said that they would be the 51st
state. It's just all coming together. We don't know how it's going to play out. Like, remember what your dad used to say all the time: get the hell out of here. We don't care about how it happens. We just know that God has said it, and it's just going to happen. That's just the way I see it.
I think so too. We are at the cusp of a very exciting time. It's scary, we've got the drones flying around, and I think, look, I'm not worried about the alien thing. I don't think it's aliens, but I do think it's technology that we don't know about. There's technology going on. There's a possibility that Lou's telling me something here. Oh yes, the Canada Keep Your Shield Up. He prophesied that as well.
Yeah, keep your shield up. I mean, I don't know, guys. It's just, to me, it's just so cool.
It is. It really is. And it gives a lot of hope to the people from Canada too, because Karen in the chat here is saying that Canada's so beautiful. It is so beautiful. And I've spoken to many people from Canada over the years, especially through COVID and all that, when the truckers did the thing over there, and so many people were just so worried about Canada and what they were going to do. And so there's hope for Canada. There's hope for Europe. I mean, we know the Fourth Reich prophecies, one from Netherlands, one from France, the short war. We're watching all of that now, because in the midst of that, he spoke about Russia joining hands with Iran, which we obviously are in the middle of watching that happen. So a lot of these prophecies are coming to pass in full. It was like along the way we've known, okay, this was this and this was this. February 22nd, 2014, the impeachments and the Roe versus Wade, we followed that. But all of these other prophecies, like the assassination prophecy where he brings up Kennedy from 2009. I mean, for him, do we have that one here? I think we do. Maybe not. Oh, we have Paris. I've got some of them loaded here so I can just play them when I need, but I don't have everything, obviously. I thought we did, but I guess not. So, yeah, he prophesied about the assassination attempt, and then he sees Kennedy in the middle of it. It ends up being prophesied at the end of August, almost to the day, 15 years before RFK Jr. endorses Trump. So again, where he was in Chicago, when 15 years ago, almost to the day, what's happening? I'm searching assassination. I see Kennedy. And that happened, someone's in the chat saying Stephen Greer says interdimensional beings. Well, that would be a demonic. Those would be demons.
Yeah.
And whatever variety of demonic entity, maybe you have demons, you have watchers, you have all kinds of things.
Right. Whenever I come across that controversial, and for some people it's controversial, it's controversial. For me, it's a no-brainer. Whenever I come across people that speak about aliens and say, "Man, this universe is so big." I mean, we're stupid to believe that we are the only species here in this universe. I will always say, well, the Bible says for us to take the gospel of the kingdom to the four corners of the earth, and not the four corners of the universe. So I'm not concerned about the universe. I'm concerned about the earth.
Well, something I've discovered this year too is after I spoke to the FBI agent that my dad worked with when he worked with the FBI on Project Morningstar, it was he who came out now that it's declassified and talked about Project Stargate and what they were getting up to there, and they were messing with this stuff. They were remote viewing and I don't know, all this kind of stuff using psychics and things like that. And they had this occurred in a house on the military base, and they had all these people in a room, and they had them doing whatever they did, and this thing manifested. So they are opening up doorways, and there is a supernatural realm.
Oh, no doubt.
And so I think, and one point I had made, I've done this a few times, is Aleister Crowley using witchcraft and spells and opening a portal in New York City in the early 1900s. And that's when he saw this being came through. And it called itself Lamb, Lam, and it looks like a gray alien. Lou, you have the picture? Lou has the picture. He's done this before. The gray alien. And it was only after that people started having the abduction experiences. You don't have the gray alien. There it is.
Right.
You don't have the gray alien stories until Aleister Crowley did this. Then all of a sudden, everybody's seeing the gray aliens and getting abducted. So there's definitely a spiritual element to this, and these beings aren't just simply, oh, they came from another planet.
Yeah,
They're checking us
we,
out.
yeah, so true. The one time we have to do a show on something that happened in Detroit when we first started traveling. Matter of fact, it was in '95. Maybe it was '96, but when we first started going to Detroit, when we had these footprints that were hard burnt, I mean, just burnt into the carpet at the church there in Southgate.
I've never
And
heard this.
oh yeah, footprints. Your dad, just make a long story very short. Your dad would always come up into the sanctuary, and when he came upstairs, he would go to the right of the building if you're facing the stage. He would go to the right, come up because that's where his piano was. But on this particular night, and it was storming outside, on this particular night, he came up the center. And then he walked up on the platform, and I was standing behind your dad, like always. And I remember the praise and worship. We had to battle, battle, battle. We had to fight, fight, fight. That's something that Lou and I was talking about before we came on. And we would try to enter in prophetically, and we couldn't that night. And then we finally broke through. Well, the next morning, Kim gets a call from the pastor, come down to the church. Kim calls me at my hotel. Charlie meet me at the church. When we get there, there's these 3 clawed footprints that follow Kim up the center of the aisle, and those footprints circled Kim, his piano, and me standing behind him multiple times, and it was burnt into the carpet. It took months, maybe close to a year, for those prints to be removed. And Kim got a word of knowledge and a discernment that it was the principality over that whole region that came into the service that night to
Now
try to
that's
disrupt
something
it.
I'm familiar with, Charlie, is that, especially when I travel in the Reawaken America tour, we would sometimes land in certain places and I could feel that.
Yeah, they're real, man. It's out there.
I felt it.
Yeah.
It was just overwhelming. And I just knew, not from any knowledge I have in my brain, I just knew what it was. And it almost, I forget where we were. I'm trying to remember where we were. Was it Oregon? And the plane landed, and it felt like as the plane landed, it gripped the region. Almost like it was this giant, I could actually almost see this giant thing
Yeah.
with these hands grip the region like that, in sort of a resistance. And, it was very powerful what we were doing on the Reawaken America tour. So, I think it was connected to that, especially considering my dad prophesied so much about a lot of the people that were on that tour. And then I end up going on that tour.
Right.
These are the kind of things that only God could orchestrate outside of time. And it's very interesting to watch this journey. And I know oftentimes when Dad would prophesy, there would be interference in the sound. I know sound was always I think it's because he was worshiping and prophesying and proclaiming, and so the sound. And I know the sound used to mess up. I mean, I remember him just doing prophecies, personally ministering, and having to shout at things, and he would recognize them.
Right.
And I think the most profound one for me was when we were in Rhode Island, and this is now a long time ago. I think 98, maybe 97 or 98. And Dad was, I don't remember which church it was. They all run together. But around 98, if Lance would have been there, because
Yes, he would have been there. Yeah. Word of Life Church was his
Word of Life.
church. Yeah.
So it wasn't Upper Room; it was Word of Life.
Yes.
What city was that in?
It was in Cranston.
Cranston.
So yeah, it's a suburb of Providence.
Upper
Yeah.
Room is in New York.
Right.
Okay, Cranston, Rhode Island. Okay, so that's where Lance Wallnau. That's where my dad met Lance Wallnau. Was there, and this is before Lance. Was he even a pastor yet?
Well, when I started traveling with your dad, he was the pastor, but Kim went to that church when, believe it or not, Lance, I think, was the worship pastor.
Worship.
Yeah, he used to lead worship.
Wow, that's news. Oh,
Right.
I'm going to have to call Lance
He
later.
doesn't
and ask
talk
him
about it
that.
much, but
I'm
yeah.
sure he
used-
doesn't.
Yeah, he used to lead worship, man.
I didn't know it was worship. Oh, that's funny. But we were at that church, and it was when the man with AIDS was there. I don't know if you were traveling with my dad yet. I was quite young, and I was there. And they
Yeah, that may
brought,
have been before, but I'm just continuing, and then I
yeah,
be able to remember
you
if I
might
was there or
remember.
not.
If you were there, you're going to remember. Otherwise, you won't. But I was standing, and I wasn't in the front. I was kind of toward the side or near the back of the church where I was sitting. And I looked to my side. My dad was doing the worship and stuff at the front. We were, and I looked to the side and I see them ushering in this man. And he was so thin, he looked like a skeleton to me. It actually scared me a little bit because I thought there's something is wrong with this person. And I just felt shocked and bad for him. His legs, I think he had long socks on his legs, and he was like a skeleton. And they brought him in and they put him at the side. And I noticed him. And then Dad did the meeting and everything. And you know how he would prophesy over individual people and
Right.
minister to individual people. He was still doing that more frequently because later on he kind of slowed down on that. But
Right.
at the time he was doing that more often. I'm thinking this is early 90s.
Right.
And he starts prophesying. I'd forgotten about that man. I saw him there, said a prayer for him, and I was thinking about what Dad was doing. And he started prophesying over people, and then they brought him up to the stage to be prayed for. And they brought him up on the platform in front of my dad. And my dad put his hand on his chest. This poor man, I can see it in my mind right now. And he started shouting this African name. Now, I knew it was an African name because I'm African. So I recognized it. But it was unusual. I can't remember the name, but it was an unusual African-sounding name, and it wasn't that guy's name. Turned out it was his dad's name. So Dad was prophesying over him and seeing the core of the issue and problem in his life.
Right.
And, oftentimes the healing that would come, be it physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, whatever the healing that the person would be coming to get prayed for, because often it was healing, whatever they were praying for. The way Dad used to, when he would prophesy over individuals, what God would show him would be the core of the issue. So not one of the symptoms, like maybe alcoholism or whatever you're acting up, whatever that is. Why? And that's usually what God would show him. For instance, if there was a woman who had been abused, I remember her, and he saw the room that she was abused in as a child.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he said, I see the painting on the wall, I see a lamp, I see a bed. And she breaks down. And that was the core of all the other problems she had started there. And so when my dad was prophesying over this man, he heard his father's name, very unusual. It's amazing my dad got this name. And when he started prophesying over him, it got quiet, just silent. Now, for me, a strange thing happened in that it became very, very still. When you're in a crowd, you can hear
Yeah.
moving, coughing, breathing. I could hear nothing. And everything was just almost like it froze. And I was just hyper focused on this moment because I'd seen that man and here he was shouting this name. And it was just like an echo, like a reverberation. And I've never experienced anything like it. It turned out that man had AIDS and got healed. He's still alive today.
Yeah.
He preaches now. He has an incredible testimony. A year later, we saw video of him, and he was fattened up, normal looking, healthy, healed.
Right.
And it was that's one of the most incredible. I've seen my dad accurately prophesy as of you, but where I was present and felt something so strong like that, because he sort of broke through these barriers of generations and hit right on. You wouldn't expect he's got a sick man in front of him.
Right.
Why on earth would he say this strange? I wish I could remember the name, and the way he shouted the name. Now I've gone back and watched video of it. Now, it's been a long time since I have, but I did,
Right.
and it never got quiet the way I experienced that in that moment.
Yeah, and something else interesting too. He wasn't afraid to lay his hands on this guy.
No.
AIDS being such a AIDS that was a spirit because when I wasn't at that particular meeting. That was before I started
It was
traveling.
before you
But I
did.
was with him when we were in South Africa in the Cape. We were in Cape Town, and we were at your cousin's church, the one I
Cape
can't.
Town.
Maybe Lou would know who.
Wendy.
Yeah, I believe.
Wendy
Yeah,
Nibble.
right. Yeah. So yeah. So we were at their church, and a gentleman came up, and this person was had AIDS, and when Kim, because Kim got his name via the word of knowledge, and he called them out by name, and he was way at the back of the building, and so they had to do the same thing with this gentleman, pretty much, bring him up because he was so weak, he was so frail. But then he had this chain, he had this gold chain on, and the closer he got to the prophet, he got maybe a couple of steps, because you have to step up some steps to where Kim was on the platform. Before he stepped up the steps, he put this chain in his mouth. He started violently biting on this chain. That was that spirit of HIV, AIDS, the whole thing behind it. And what your dad did in that service was similar to what you just told, because he went back to when this guy was possessed by this spirit because of a witch doctor.
Oh,
And so this guy's biting on this chain, as this spirit. He cast that spirit out of that guy, and then that guy was healed of AIDS. So that's the one that I remember. The one that you're talking about in Rhode Island, I believe that was before I was traveling with your dad.
yeah, that would have been 93 or 94. I was pretty young.
Yeah,
I never forgot that, Charlie, because of
yeah,
what I felt. I mean, I saw so many people prophesied over, healed, ministered to. It wasn't that. It wasn't even the details of it. It was that moment where something happened. I don't know if I connected with what was happening. I don't know what God was doing there, but I'll never forget it.
yeah,
And then to later have that testimony from him that he was completely healed of something that had no cure at the time.
yeah.
Everybody was afraid, like you said. Dad wasn't. No, he wasn't afraid to touch him at all.
No,
And of course, Dad was fine, and he was fine, which was the miracle.
right.
And this is, and this is going back to the reason we're talking about this is because we're looking at these aliens, supposedly, or drones, or people are saying that they could be aliens, and I think that we know it's not as simple as something that evolved on another planet is coming to check us out. I think the truth is much more nefarious,
Yes.
and all of the things that have been going on spiritually have shaken things up so that things are being exposed. And I mean, this Dad prophesied about the intelligence agencies in particular. Now, what I was just telling you about is that thing that manifested in the military base with Project Stargate. It was they said it was a physical thing. It wasn't like a ghost or a spirit or
Right.
a shadow. It was a thing, a being that could communicate with them, came through this opening between time and space. It makes me think of Beyond the Veil.
Yeah.
You know how many times, so there's obviously the good part of that, but there's also the veil. It kind of goes back to, I think, Babel, Tower of Babel stuff, which I think is also one of those things where I don't think it was just that they were building a building straight up to heaven. I think there's more to it.
Right.
So we're at a stage in history where we're starting to look at things with kind of a new perspective. And so there's the things that are, being exposed, the bad things. But Dad saw good. So Dad saw, the 2027 prophecy. He was seeing healing for Alzheimer's, autism, cancer, brain
Right.
injury. And you were there for the 2027 prophecy too. Remember when he saw Emma and he
Right.
broke down crying and he said, I hope I live to see it.
Right.
And was quite emotional because I think he was probably sensing he might not be there for it. And he in particular said it's the year 2027.
Yeah.
Now, he didn't do that often either. Actually,
No.
nail down a year. One time he did 2019, but he didn't usually say a year. He would see the things, but he wouldn't get a year. And so the fact that he got a year, I think, is quite significant too, because that's going to be 2 years into Trump's second term.
Yeah. That's coming up very quickly, man.
And so the good thing about that is is that he saw a revival and a great move of the Spirit, a Jesus revolution, and Jesus becoming cool again. Um, what he saw about the new sound and the sounds of the Middle East. Remember in 2013, Your Word is Like a Fire? Oh, your bass line was so good on that, Charlie. I'll never forget. Sometimes you just hit that bass line, and that's all I can hear in a song anymore.
Yeah.
And Dad's worshiping and prophesying, and all I can hear is that bass line. Is
I
Charlie.
didn't even know you had done that. And so on my Facebook Live promoting my message this week on my channel, Perspectives of the Prophetic, I found that video and I said, oh man, I remember. And in that was the first time that song was birthed, I believe. Or at
Yes.
least it was everything that we did was birthed prophetically. We didn't sit down and just, okay, we're gonna have a writing session. No, we would get together and rehearse, and Kim said, okay, we're gonna start in this key and let's see what God gives us. That's just how we used to do it. And so yeah, that bass line came right on the moment there, right on the fly.
And that's when he saw, and you remember you guys kind of imitated the sound of the mixture of a Middle Eastern sound with a
Right.
Western sound. And then he saw the dance, and they would have this dance, and it wouldn't be from God, but God would said He would take it.
Right.
So, the reason I brought that up is because that's when he was seeing the Jesus revolution. That's one of the times.
Right.
And this great move of the Spirit. So we have all these things to hope for, but we have the warnings of these other things we need to watch out for along the way. And one of them was, the enemy trying to terrorize us and make us afraid. And something else he prophesied, I forget when, but he said, if you fear, your enemy will know it.
Right.
So you can't pretend. You cannot allow yourself to be afraid, because you won't be able to hide it from your
Right.
enemy, which is interesting too, considering we have all this AI and this technology that's quite intrusive. Can predict, what the things you want, and based on your behavior, can very quickly trace those patterns of behavior in you and know how to advertise to you, know how to. So it's interesting that part as well. So, it's like we have like the prophecies with like the main predictions, but then you have the stuff in between that's very interesting, because it's not just telling you what's going to happen, but it's giving you insight as to how to handle it.
Right.
For instance, if you fear, your enemy's going to know it, so do not be afraid. And a lot of people have told me that with this whole drone thing, they are not afraid. I'm not afraid.
Yeah, that's
not scared.
that's the common denominator here, because now people are not afraid. This is not 2020 again.
Yeah.
When the whole country was gripped with fear, I mean, everyone was staying in.
Yeah.
You see people like at a drive-through bank machine. And I'll tell you, I saw it. I saw like 3 or 4 cars. I was behind. I was, trying to draw some money out of an ATM, and everyone that used it, they had a what do you call those wipes? Germ wipe, and they wipe
Yes.
off the keypad, okay, and then punch stuff in and wipe it back off. Then the next person would pull up, wipe it off, and it was such. I mean, just so much fear. But now with this, nah. People are like, yeah, man, I'm taking pictures of it. Yeah, what's up? Something's up. But people ain't freaking out.
No.
That's interesting.
It is interesting, because it kind of seems like, they don't want to tell people what's going on, like the Pentagon and the military. They don't want to say anything because they're scared people are going to be afraid. But I don't think people seem to be very bold, trying to shoot them out of the sky in Arizona. I saw one guy actually shot one out of the sky.
Yeah.
See, this is why we have the right to bear arms in America. How important that is, because it is a deterrent for anybody wanting to invade, the way they did in Israel. They came through in the parachutes and things. You wouldn't be able to do that in America, because
No.
how many people would be shooting you out of the sky? And the
Especially
enemy
here
knows
in
that.
Texas and Tennessee.
In Texas and Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee.
Every night,
Jeez.
I hear people shooting off guns every night.
Man,
Every night I can hear.
yeah, those good old boys they be blasting those things out of the sky. I'm telling you. So
Well, Charlie, something else we wanted to talk about before we run out of time today is Samson.
yeah,
Now, we tried to pull the prophecy. So there's everybody, in case you guys don't know, obviously you don't know. Charlie has been looking at this prophecy where my dad prophesies and makes a comparison to Samson. But we we don't have the video. This is why you guys need to join the vault. That's our new partnership program. It's called the Prophecy Vault. And what we are doing is digitizing all the footage we have of my dad. And we don't have everything digitized. And so that's why we do it and release it the way we do at the House of Destiny, at the Kim Clement website, kimclement.com, and YouTube and Rumble and X and all these places. We release these prophecies as they come up. And we don't always have the video. And so a problem we've run into is some of it is in a format that is not easy to digitize, like those old TBN tapes. And, we're going all the way back to cassette tapes and VHS, which we have digitized those. But when it comes to this kind of thing, we have to go find the footage and where is it and how do we digitize it? That's what the partner program is about. So
Yeah.
you guys, if you're watching, you can see at the bottom of the screen there. There's a QR code. If you don't want to use a QR code, you can just go to the website, kimclement.com, houseofdestiny.org. It's the same website. And join our partner program, the Prophecy Vault. And it's only $7 or more a month, depending on how much you want to give to support us doing this. But it really helps us to get this footage. So we will have the Samson prophecy soon. I know Danny's on it looking for it. But what did you want to share about that? Because I'm very interested to hear what you have to say.
Well, what's interesting about the year 2007, I like to call it the year of the trumpet or the year of Trump, because that was the year that your dad prophesied, I guess you can say 4 times, but I like to add a 5th time, because the first 2 prophecies that he prophesied that we can now connect to Donald Trump was the Samson prophecy. The first one was, of course, January 26, 2007. We were in Oklahoma City. And Lou, if you can put that up on the screen so people can see this, because this is so interesting, guys, because in this service on this particular night, Kim was actually speaking about something totally different. And he stopped and he looked at me, and then he started teaching or talking about Samson. And he said, why am I speaking to you, to my dear people, about Samson? And then he goes on and he gives a paraphrase story about Samson. And, he fought the Philistines. He took the jawbone of a donkey and killed 1,000. So he went through that whole story. But then he gets to the point of where now he's connecting it. He's bringing it into what God was actually saying. So it says here, Judah, yes, in Israel, they came to Samson, 3,000 of them, for they were afraid of the Philistines and what they would do to them. And they said to Samson, Samson, why have you come against them now? This is the story. This is the paraphrase part of the prophecy that he was given. And I put in parentheses, when he was saying this, I said, could this be a correlation with the 2020 indictment? Because what happened in 2020 and J6, they tried to put all of that on Donald Trump. Now it's coming out that it was the other way around, that they really were behind all of this. But what's interesting is that his Republican brothers, most of the rhinos, they weren't with him. They turned against him. They indeed turned him over. They turned their backs on Donald Trump. And so this is why I put that, like I said, that's hypothetical. So that's why I put in parentheses. Could this be a correlation with the 2020 election? So let's continue. We are in bondage, Judah was saying. We are in bondage to the Philistines. Samson said, okay, my brothers, I will let you tie me up, but please do not kill me. My own brothers, do not kill me. So they tied the ropes around his hands, and 3,000 of Judah, which is his brothers, delivered Samson to the Philistines. As we can see with every indictment, especially J6, a lot of his brothers, a lot of the Republican Party turned their backs on him. They knew what went down in 2020. They knew that something was funky about that election. They knew it, but they turned their backs on him. Okay, so let's read the second part because we've gone a little long. All right, so this is when he begins to prophesy. So he said, would this nation listen? So now listen to the word of the Lord. Now, basically, that's what the prophet was saying. Would you deliver the man that would say, I have fought for the freedom of this nation, and you are not enslaved and in bondage to the oil of the Middle East? Now, let's go back to June 17th, 2007. We were in San Jose. This is months later, but it's the same year, 2007, when your dad began to sing about there's a man that fought for you
Yes, in
in
your
your
night.
night. He
Yes.
fought for the freedom of this nation in your night. He said he fought for you in your night. He's a knight that was standing at White House, and he will fight for you. That's a connection there. And so, but back then, everyone, we were thinking, okay, 2007 Samson. Well, he's definitely not talking about George Bush,
No.
because Bush was in the White House at that time.
Right.
Obama was on the campaign trail. He
It
wasn't
wasn't
talking
either
about,
of them.
yeah, it wasn't. So what is the prophet talking about? Okay, put it back up. All right. So I'm going to wrap this up real quick. This is not a political issue, for God said there will be a victory by the end of this term. Listen to that vernacular. By the end of this term. What term? Mark my words. I will not allow this president to step down in shame. We were thinking, okay, Bush, they've been attacking Bush on weapons of mass destruction and everything. But come on, man. They play this game with each other. They've been doing this for decades upon decades. The right against the left against the right. Bush didn't have any shame to be worried about stepping down from, right?
No.
God is saying, I will not allow this president to step down in shame. What have they tried to do to this man? They've impeached him twice. Okay. They accused him of Russia collusion, which it didn't happen. Quid pro quo. All of this stuff, they tried to assassinate him. They indictments and all of this stuff against this man. They have tried to shame this man the minute he came down that escalator in 2015. Okay, so let me continue. I'm almost done, Luke. All right. So mark my words, I will not allow this president to step down in shame. No, it shall not happen, says the Lord. No, it shall not happen. This shall not be in vain. Okay. Yes. You said, Kim, how have you spoken now? The word of the Lord came to me. Do not tie his hands and deliver him to the hands of your enemies. For as one man, this is clearly that this man is with the Republican Party is and has been standing by himself. Only a few that have been with him. But one man, he shall still have a victory, says the Lord. This is not a Democratic or Republican issue. This is a kingdom of God issue. This is something that Daniel saw, something that John saw on the Isle of Patmos, okay? But if they do, and they tie his hands to finish the task, for there shall be, check this out, there shall be a great discovery before November. I put in parentheses, could this be the Diddy factor? Because Diddy was arrested in September or October of 2024.
Yes.
A great discovery, and God says many shall be brought to shame. The list that is on Diddy, the people that's on Diddy's list is going to shock some people. Let's continue. But if hands are tied, and those ropes if hands are tied, those ropes will be broken by the Spirit of the living God. The judge just said on the indictments, he is going to move forward with following through with those indictments. We need to pray for that judge.
Yes.
Because God is going to break the ropes off of this man. Do you remember what happened with Samson when he leaned against the pillars and the whole city was in that temple? Everyone was in that temple. Samson leaned against the pillars where that temple was on that foundation. That case against Trump, those felonies, it's on a weak foundation. God is going to lean against that. And everyone that was involved in that case is going to come crumbling and crashing down on their heads. They need prayer.
Yes, absolutely. Wow, Charlie.
Wow.
You know what? And also, I think it's important that we look at that date, January 26th. Got my granny glasses on. I had to do that to read the prophecy. I forgot I had them on. January 26th. Let's remember that date as well. I just felt like to remember that as we were reading through that. Because again, 2007, like you said, the year of the trumpet, the year
Yeah.
of Trump.
5, because look, 2 weeks or so later in February, you just mentioned that Donald Trump is in Maricopa County. Well, 2 weeks later in Arizona, he prophesies the same thing. And this nation, you shall not end in shame. The term of this president, not Bush, definitely not Obama.
President he's referring to, yes.
The term of this president shall not end in shame, for there will be revelation upon revelation that shall come, says the Lord. For they have strongly tied his hands, as the brothers of Judah took the hands of Samson and tied them, 3,000 of them, and said, Samson, we must hand you over to the Philistines, because you have started a fight and we are not going to go to war. So God says, listen, even though they have tied his hands, or tied the hands of this president, God says, even as Samson broke the ropes and broke the cords, he will break them, and there will be a victory. And this nation shall understand that you will be entering into a time of harvest that you have never experienced before. The harvest is white. God says, get ready, for I'm about to send you into the world. I'm about to send you into the valley of salt, where there is only death, 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 and bring it back to life, says the Spirit of the Lord. It's not a coincidence that when they tried to bring death upon this man said something that no other president has ever said. Fight, fight, fight.
That he did. Wow, Charlie. Wow. I'm going to have to go back. We need to find that video.
I don't know
You
if
need
it's
to
on
tell
video.
Danny I wanted to put it up on Prophetic Rewind. Maybe in the next couple weeks, week or two, because you'll have to find it. So we've got January 26th of 2007. Then February of 2007, this is when he saw Trump would be a trumpet. You remember that day, of course. Then we've got the night.
That was the same night that he prophesied, within the same meetings. I think it was the
I think
same
it was
night.
the 10th. I think it is actually February 10th.
Yeah,
I always get
all of that
date.
was the same night, guys.
All
This is Trump.
2007.
Yeah.
Now, if you think about 2007, again, 10 years later was when Trump became president and everything started. And everything changed. Our world changed. Not everybody noticed it right away, but it changed.
Yeah.
And from that moment forth, we've seen a changing of the guards. We've seen so much exposed everywhere, in politics, in the intelligence agencies, even in Christianity and in the church, and the things that have happened there. And then, of course, you have the Epstein list, you have the Diddy list. So it's entertainment and music. Every single where you look, things have been exposed. And so it really is very important to go back and look at these, because I remember the Samson thing. At some point I did read that, but it had been a long time, and I never used it for anything. But I have found that when you look at these prophecies again, and you're like, okay, that's come to pass, that's come to pass, and that's come to pass. The stuff in the middle that doesn't make sense, don't forget about it.
Right.
Don't just be like, oh, I don't get that part, whatever. Wait and go back and look again, because they begin to make sense. And again, it was not anything my dad could have figured out on his own. It was absolutely God.
Right.
Absolutely, without question. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're out of time. It's going to cut us off soon. Okay, Charlie. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know everybody in the comments, they're really appreciating this. I'm looking at everybody.
I just replied to a person. I think someone wanted clarification on the harvest is white. This just simply means that the harvest is ripe and it's ready, and the blood is flowing, and the blood washes us all as white as snow. God sees us in his light. He doesn't see us in our iniquity, in the crimson red that we're in, but he sees us in the redness or the blood of his son. That makes us white. That makes us white as snow. Even those that haven't called up on the name of Christ. See, guys, we have to see them in their future being in the kingdom of God. That's the best way to witness to a person that's lost. Because if you witness to them in their now, what you're going to talk about more than anything is their sin. We are not to talk about their sin because our sin is ever so before us all the time. All of us, we fall short of the glory of God. But if we can see them in the light of Christ, even though they are not, but we see them the way God sees them, because God wants us to see everyone the way he sees them. So they are white in the eyes of God. And we need to let them know how they really look to him. They will want to mirror that image because that's their true likeness. That's what that meant.
That's so beautiful. And that's so true. Is look at people the way God sees them.
Right.
Because like you said, we do all fall short. And none of us are perfect. I remember Dad saying, we're not celebrating how holy we are, but how holy he is.
Right.
Because none of us will get there on our own. We need him.
No
And that
doubt.
is a beautiful message to end our time together with as we go into this week of Christmas. So everybody watching, I thank you so much. I see all your comments there, and we're just so blessed that you joined us here today. And we are heading into our Christmas. We will be
Yay.
with our families and opening presents and eating well, or whatever you do at Christmas time. Just don't forget the reason for the season. And I have not forgotten. I'm getting there. Lou's sending me messages. If you gave a donation today to our ministry or anything, there we go. Here we go. It's on the screen. We want to send you this Daily Light, a 31-day devotional. We put together the daily lights. My dad used to write them every day, and he would email them to everyone in the family, everybody on the ministry team, other people, friends, and we would get one every day, the daily light. And he did it for a long time, and they were just so inspiring and beautiful. And so we put them together in a devotional. And so if you gave an amount of anything, if you gave 50 cents, we want to send you one. We want you to have it, but you have to let us know that you want it. So either use the QR code that's at the bottom of your screen right now, or go to the website, kimclement.com, houseofdestiny.org. It's the same website. And make sure you click the banner to let us know that you want us to send you one, and we'll send you one with your donation. And then the other one works the same way, but it's for $25 or more. It's our new release. And this is also stuff Dad wrote. It's a collection of letters, prophetic revelations from Kim Clement. And it is awesome. Listen, as amazing as my dad was on the piano and all the things, he was an incredible writer. He articulated so well, not just beautiful things and thoughts, but also prayers and just insights on the prophetic from the perspective of a prophet. And so it's just beautiful. So if you gave a donation of $25 or more today, we want to send that to you. So same thing. Go to the website if you don't want to use the QR code, but the QR code will take you there. Make sure you click the banner and let us know you want it. Make sure you have a look at the Prophecy Vault, our partner program. And there is so much in there. You saw the ad at the beginning of the show, so you can see what's in there. It is packed full and totally worth it. And it really helps, especially for those of you who don't quite understand everything. Dad had the School of the Prophets and multiple teaching series and beautiful worship and incredible prophecy. And it's all there for you in one place if you partner with us. So I encourage you to do that if you feel so led. And I want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas. And I will see you next week.
Partnerships are vital to our global outreach, enabling us to take the love and hope of Jesus Christ to those who need it most. Our Boots on the Ground Partnership Program physically ministers to those in desperate situations all over the world. The Israel Partnership furthers Kim's legacy of outreach to Israel and Jewish people worldwide. We invite you to become a partner today. Join us today and be part of a community that inspires hope, brings restoration to life, and often healing from the past. Together, we can make a difference, and we thank you for your ongoing support.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98, or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more.
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you, and then by phone call, and then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.